Okay, this is my calendar system for a Unity project. This is going to be able to have time management, event management to trigger events that occur at the appropriate time. So let's take a look. So with our test project, we need to have a calendar manager script attached to the game object so all of this works. For our player or any game object that you want to have its own calendar, you need to attach the calendar script to the object. You just want to name this something unique. And then the key dates are going to be events that happen. So to create a key date, let's right click, go to event, scriptable event, and let's add Alex's birthday. Let's set the color to red. And this is going to trigger right at the start of the new day. So for this case, this is going to be January 15th. The event icon is going to be a little picture of Alex. So now, if we go back to our calendar, our key dates, if we drag this here and we run it, we should have added this event. We press tab. You can see we just added his birthday with the icon and the red color. So taking a look at our calendar, you can see that we have our year, our month, our time, our active dates. So it actually just switched. We have buttons to go back in time to see and to go forward in time to see. If we go back to our currently selected month, as you can see, this is where we're at. So if you didn't actually see the date transition, let's do that again. Right, we're on the 14th at almost midnight. And now it's the 15th, so the next day. So let's say we wanted to add some sort of functionality, we wanted some fireworks to play or something. Let's do that. So I don't have fireworks, but I have some rain. It's not weather per se, but it is just a particle system essentially that's going to play. So back to our scriptable object event that we created, event effects prefab. So ideally, you would like to drag and drop, but it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because the prefab that you want to get called needs to have a specific script attached to it. So let's add a new script, rain effects. This is very important. It has to derive from effects script and then override the function. So this is where you'll add any logic that you want to add. We're just going to log that it has started. Back to, oh, I did not show you that in code. So yes, it has to derive from effect script, where we override trigger effect. This is where you add functionality, but we're just going to log this to show you that it gets called. So back to you. So now here we should be able to drag and drop this here. Oh, we forgot to attach it. Rookie mistake. Wonderful. So when we play this, let's see what happens. Let's open up our map. Birthdays UI is the one that opened up the calendar. So we're going to switch days. And as you can see, the rain effect has started. What's nice about this as well, if we set this to happen, let's say you want this to trigger at 12:30 in the morning. I sometimes get this error. It actually doesn't do anything. I just need to replay it. Yeah, as you can see. I don't know why. Besides the point. So now when we go to Alex's birthday, we're actually going to preload the event. So it's actually loaded in memory because it's a game object. And let's advance time to, make this happen faster. So let's do, 0.2. So when this gets to 12:30, bam, rain effect triggered. So as you can see, the function got called and the rain starts happening. So in this case, it's rain, but in your case, it could be fireworks or a sound, whatever it may be. It just needs to be set up in that way. And that's how you would create an event through the inspector. That's how you would attach or create a key date through the inspector and also attach it through in a calendar through the inspector. Through code, let's take a look at the code. Code is I'm gonna go through like the code first, I guess. So we have our calendar manager. The calendar manager essentially is going to store all of the events that have happened, are going to happen, and that are happening today. It's going to store the current date and the time. And this is what's going to like move the calendars forward. If events need to get notified, they are going to get notified here. So yeah, we're going to trigger the event if it's happening today, right? This is where all of that logic goes on tick. Every time we tick, we're going to advance the current time. We're going to prepare events for today. We're going to process today's events and then remove any old events that have happened. Here is our day-night cycle. Essentially, we are just going from morning to midday, and then from midday to midnight, from 0 to 1, and then 1 to 0. So it's like a sine wave. It goes up and down. We have our own unique date struct. This is what stores everything. Cool. Our event struct or our class is what stores the information about the date. So the color, the attendees, or like who's listening, who wants to get notified. And we're going to do this through code. The effect scripts, the prefabs that we're going to use, the name, and the date. The calendar is what we attach or create. So we can create this, like I showed you how to create it through the inspector. I'm going to show you to create it through the code as well. We have some functions where we can listen to a specific event where we pass in the event name, or we can listen to all of the events where we pass in that script that wants to listen to it. We can also add events by a key date, which is a scriptable object. We can add events manually by creating a new one, and we have to pass this in. You can also get an event by the year, and also, again, get an event by the name. We can also get events that are happening for that month, where we pass in the month and the year. You shouldn't really need to go inside of here. Time manager is just a script that manages the time flow. You shouldn't need to go in here. So let's say you made a new script. I'm going to use movement 2D, for example. And you want to like subscribe and listen to an event. So I know that Alex has movement 2D attached and my calendar attached, which means I can get a reference to the calendar by doing this, right? I know this will work. With this, I can add an events if I wanted to. I'm not going to do this because there's already events added. I can also get events. Get event. And again, we can get in by the month or the name, right? Let's not do any of that as well, because there's a better way of doing this. So it's important that this script inherits or implements the iCalendar listener interface. So when we implement this, we get on notify. on notify is the function that will get called when the event occurred. So we're going to debug log this, whatever this is. All right. So when this happens, we're going to see this event that has been triggered. In order to listen to an event, you need to get a reference to the calendar. So here we have this one, and we can do calendar dot listen to event. Or sorry, listen to event, where we pass in a string. Sorry, a string. So what is our string name? So if we go back here, the event that we created is going to be this one. This is what we're using. Well, actually, let's make a new one. Calendar dot add event. All right, what does it take? An event name. What is the name going to be? Test event. Sure. Love autocomplete. The event start date. So let's do a new date. 1998, January 15th. What time? Let's do 0:30. So this should happen relatively quickly. And then the color is what we want the color to be, like the border. So let's do color dot green, I guess. Great. Now we want to listen to this event. So we're going to pass in the name test event. We're also going to want to pass in an iCalendar listener, an attendee. So since we included that, we can just include ourselves. So now, when this test event triggers, this on notify should get called. Let's see. I haven't actually tested this. Okay. That was from before. Okay. So, oh, that popped up there. Test event, Alex's birthday at 12:30. Right, we preloaded the rain effects, and they both should trigger at 12:30. Let's just make time go by a little faster. So our rain has occurred, and our test event has been triggered. Great. This is what we were expecting. Right? So our test event has been triggered. So this is how you listen to the event. If you wanted to have a script that, you want to listen to all of the events, you can listen to all events and you pass in the script itself, right? So this will listen to every single event inside of this calendar. Now, note that if you can find this calendar by name, so if you know the name, you do calendar manager dot get calendar, where you pass in the name. So the name that we want is going to be, back to the Unity, birthdays. So birthdays. Right. So we can do this as well. If you're somewhere else that can't get the components, I think I pass in. Oh, that's fine. Right. So if you can't get the component from the base, from the game object, you can do it this way as well. Okay. If you want to create a calendar without attaching it, somewhere else at runtime, you can absolutely do that. So let's get rid of this. Let's do calendar manager dot create calendar. We want to give it a name of birthdays. And that's all we need, right? Yes, it is. So this will actually create the calendar. If you want to hold on to a reference, you can. But this will just create it in the hierarchy. Remember, it has to be a unique name, so this can't work. So when we start it, we should create a new calendar in the hierarchy, my birthdays, right? And similarly, if you want to add events, you do what I showed you before, add events, and you can add events by scriptable objects or by name. If you wanted to just do like resources.load key dates, my birthday, if you had this set up in such a way, you can absolutely do this as well. Now, I believe I'm coming to an end of my demonstration of my demo. What should we talk about? The calendar. Let's just get rid of this so nothing breaks. All right, so I showed you that we can add custom events. We can add custom like functionality to occur when the event happens, or when the when it matches the event. We can add special effects to the event. We can add special functionality. It's entirely up to you. Some things that we, nice to note is what we're doing here with blocking out the date. So January 31st ends on a Tuesday, which means that this should be February 1st, which it is, right? So that is all happening in my calendar UI panel. It's very simple to understand. So every time we update the calendar UI, we're just going to set the month, set the year, set the like the date, sync the dates to the month. So this is where that cool thing happens. Ignore my bugs, ignore my to-dos. They're good. I promise you. Just don't look into it. We get the first of the month. Start date offset. So this is going to be the day of the week where we have to get the day of the week. Right? Because we have to know like where in that is, like where the first of the month is in the week. Then with here, we then set our day is equal to our index minus the offset plus 1, right? And this is if it's within the like the month's day, then this is where we set the actual dates. And then we make it available so it's not red. Otherwise, just set it to 0, make it unavailable. And then this sync events to days is just where we actually make use of the get events for month. And then we just clear all of the panels, and then we add the events to that panel. And just going into it, yeah, we just set the event details just so it's displayed nice and pretty. As you can see here, what this looks like. This is what it looks like by itself. So these are just blank texts, I guess. But as you can see, if we add like a bunch of events, right, it formats nice and smoothly. So we can add multiple events. It just gets a little harder to see, cramped. But this all works, and this is my calendar system.